All right, welcome back. Well, it's the second half of the year, and we all have different stories to tell about how far we've come since January to June. Some people have set goals that they haven't been able to achieve, and others have only met their goals halfway. Now, it could be that you haven't actually done enough, or that you need to reevaluate those goals that you set and, re-energize for the coming half of the year. Abiola Salami, who's a life coach, and I think he's also a life and performance coach, is joining us this morning to talk about how to set goals for the second half of the year and achieve them. Good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you. Good
happy
morning.
New month. Happy new second half of 2018.
Yeah, happy new everything.
Indeed, it's really great. You know, at the beginning of the year, everybody's talking about getting on the road, starting fresh. There's a lot of energy. People are coming from church, all night. You start on the, January 1st, you're like, it's my year of the supernatural and different things. And others are coming from the mosque. Everybody starts the year very, very energized. They're ready for action. But somewhere along the line, you start losing steam for various reasons. Many different things go on. Now we've ended the first half of the year. We're starting a new half. What should I do as someone who's been running? It's a marathon, but so now it's halftime. What are the things I'm supposed to be looking at halftime?
Okay. Truth be told, we're not in the best of times, but also we're not in the worst of times. I would describe this period as a tough time. And what I know about tough time is tough times don't last, but tough people do. So the number of things happening around in our community, in our society, especially in our country now, that may want to make people lose steam, that may want to make people surrender their goals, and retreat from their pursuits. One of the things that we need to start to think of right now is to adjust the goals that you have. And so maybe the person set a goal in the beginning of the year that by the middle of the year, I want to have made X amount of money, maybe 100 million naira, or so. So the way to begin is to review the goal and adjust that goal. Because at times people set goals without following the right principles, because generally said that goals should be SMART, which is one, be specific. What exactly it is that you want to achieve, let it be measurable so that you can count and say that this is how far I have gone, not just about throwing figures in the air, not just like saying that, oh, I would like to make more money this year. How more? What do you want to add? Or I want to lose weight this year. How many kilograms? Do you want to lose?
So being specific about the goal.
Being specific about the goal. Yeah. Being able to measure the goal. Also making sure that it is achievable. As well, and are realistic. Some people have unrealistic expectations.
Well, you guys also say dream big. So, where do I draw the line between dreaming big and setting goals that are realistic?
Okay, so whoever says dream big, I'm sure that is not all the person would say. The person would have said dream big and start small, starting from where you are.
Yeah.
So it's good to aim high, right? But it's also important that you start from where you are. And the way to set realistic expectations is to conduct a SWOT analysis, which is your strength, know what your strength is, know what your weaknesses are, know what the opportunities around you available are, and what the threats are as well. Because it is good to aim high, it is good to, dream as big as you want, but you need to sit down and commit to start working.
So set realistic goals. And what's the T?
So the T is timing, It's about knowing the time, putting time frame to it, So you don't just want to say this year, for example, you want to say by December 31st, I want to be here, and you want to also break it down into quarters, there are 4 quarters in the year, such that that goal that seems so big, you break them down with time, saying that if this is where I want to be by the end of the year, first month, it means I should do this. Second month, it means I should do this. And you do a periodic review. Now, in doing all of this, it is important to stay focused, but to be flexible at the same time. Somebody said that it's either you break or you bend, because while you set the goal in the beginning of the year, and many things could happen that may change the market, many things could happen that may change your reality. We talked about realistic expectation. That is why it's important not to be rigid, to still be we're flexible. So right now it is half year. You set a goal, for example, that you want to make 100 million this year. And right now you've not even made 10. It is important to review. Don't have that kind of faith that says, oh, I mean, what you could not do, 10% you could not really deliver for 6 months and thinking that you deliver 90% in another 6 months, it may not happen. So what you want to do is to check that, so where did I get it wrong? You know, was my expectation unrealistic? You know, did I get into things I'm not supposed to engage in, you know, that encroach into my time to deliver on what I'm supposed to deliver?
Yeah.
Those are critical questions to ask so that you can properly plan for the next 6 months.
I like the direction that you're going with this, being specific about your goals, ensuring also that your goals are measurable. But a lot of times what also happens is some people are starting from scratch. Some people have, maybe they lost everything, you know, maybe at the end of maybe the first half of the year, many things have happened. Right now, the stock market is down. They've lost trillions of naira on the stock market. So there's a lot going on right now that somebody's just feeling, you know what, let me just abandon this whole thing. So maybe you're in a particular sphere or a particular line of business and you just decide that, you know what, let me start afresh. So for people who are starting afresh, which is like, this is a new year for me, what should they do and how do they begin?
So new is a golden opportunity. The fact that it's refreshed, the fact that you're starting afresh, is a golden opportunity. Before starting, do a review. So, and let's go to SWOT again. So in what you've done so far, what do you notice as your strength? You know, what stood out for you? What was really, what worked for you? Your weaknesses, what are those things that, you know, that contributed to the negative
Failure,
result,
whatever
failure,
it is,
you know, whatever it is. Then think about the opportunities available. You want to start new. The fact that it's new is a great opportunity because you're starting on zero again. You know, so look at the opportunities then. What are the threats? What is competition doing? You know, what maybe, is it your pricing, you know, that didn't work well before? You know, and so what is the pricing of competition? Those are things that you want to look at and begin on a fresh note. And having this in mind and committing to consistent review, because what we don't do oftentimes is when we set goals, we just keep on going with it without doing periodic checks and reviews because things change. Change is a constant thing. The most constant thing in the world is change. So whatever you thought would happen this week, right by next week, the reality might have changed. That's why it's important to pay attention to ongoing, continuous learning, you know, so that you can deliver well on the goals.
I like that. Now, one of the things that you do, I noticed that you've done that over the years, is to train and talk to young people. So now we've been talking a little bit about people in business, you know, people running corporations and things like that. Now let's talk to young people who are job seekers. So I had a goal that maybe I wanted to change my job, maybe in the first quarter of the year or in the first 6 months at least, or I'm looking for a job. So how do I set goals in that area when I know that there's somebody who's, you know, in charge of my time, so to speak. So maybe from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'm working somewhere. So how do I set goals to achieve my personal goals? Maybe getting a new job, doing something new, taking a master's degree, something like that.
So the way to understand this is there are two circles. You know, we have a circle of concern and a circle of influence. Your circle of concern is the things affecting you that you have no control over. Your circle of influence are the things affecting you but you can control. So for the young person who wants to change his job or who wants to find a new job, I mean, who wants to start working, for example, what are the things you can control? Number one on the list is to improving yourself, to becoming a person of value, much more than the value you are right now. I didn't say the value you have, I said the value you are right now. Much more than the value you are right now, improving yourself. So, I mean, and there are throes of opportunities online, for example. I mean, an average young person has access to phones, you know, that you can go check anything online. So rather than spending most of your time on social media, rather than spending most of your time scrolling through pictures and chatting with friends on that same gadget, you can register for courses online. So when we talk about improving your value, for example, it doesn't necessarily have to be the four walls of a university. If you have that opportunity, great, take it. If you don't have that opportunity, you can go to U-Mobile. I call it University of Mobility, you know. You can go to your phone and learn anything you want to learn. Now, looking for a job, they say that there are no jobs, but it's not true. There are jobs, but there are people who are not competent enough to do those jobs. By learning, by paying attention to, you know, improving your skills by the things you watch on YouTube, you know, on Google, all of those platforms, it helps you to become a person of value, so the job you are looking for will be looking for you. So it becomes a pull, not a push.
I like that. So let's talk about personal lives now. We've talked about business. We've talked about getting jobs. I want to lose weight. I want to get married or start a relationship. There are different things that people have that can be very challenging to them and even cause them to be sad, unhappy, and even depressed. And they are personal things. They don't have to do with money or anything like that. How do I, these are more nuanced things that affect individuals. How do I set goals in those areas?
Okay, so let us talk about getting married.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get married in 2018. How do I set my goal and ensure that I achieve it?
Okay, it's important to know that getting married doesn't have to do with you alone.
Exactly. There's somebody else. There's another variable.
Yeah, there's another variable, which is very important. You know, you can marry yourself. So what to do is to position. And that's the best you can do. So maybe you're a lady, you know, position yourself. I mean, you have expectation of the kind of gentleman you're looking for example, position yourself to attract that kind of person.
Positioning,
yeah,
I like that.
Very important.
Yeah.
You're a guy, you're a gentleman, and you have the kind of lady that you're looking for. Position yourself. You know, you go to places where you find people like that. You know, you make sure you have a network of people, that way you find people like that.
How about my outlook, the way my outlook on life and the way I also look? Does that also play a role?
Well, you know, it is said that you are dressed the way you dress, right? And you don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. So it's important that you want to get married, for example, and I like this topic. So you want to get married, for example, you know, 2018, it's important that you look the part.
Yeah.
You know, you look attractive enough to attract the kind of person you have in mind that you want to get married to. Very important.
Thank you so much, Abiola Salami. It's always great to have you join us on the show, motivating us, letting us know